Hi, how are you?
Oh, hello, Clarissa. Hi, very good, very good. Glad to see you here. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Very good, very good. I have still pending uh, um, an answer for your brother. Uh, I'll be glad to forward him some of the things that I also like to forward to you,
Okay.
kind of to catch up.
Yeah.
I will do it as soon as we finish some of the things. And by the way, tomorrow is there's a conference. It's called Inner Space. It's here in on campus in HSIB. I guess it's health safety and I don't
Uh,
know. It's a building. Uh, Let me see if I have the near space. Near space is called.
okay.
Okay, okay. Uh, okay. So yeah. So I'll also share that near space. Near space. Here is participation. Oh yes. I will forward this. Where is this? It's from David Hahn. Near Space Symposium. I guess we can still register,
Mhm.
forward to Clarissa, and okay, in case you have the time to go. I don't know if it's gonna be recorded, but uh,
Thank you.
yeah, please, that will do. Okay, I'm almost ready here, and uh, this is the presentation. I need to share my screen whenever he is ready, but I am introducing him first, but that will happen at 8:30 each, so
Okay.
we may need a few minutes to. I invited more people, but uh, let's see. And later, well, you know, yeah, we can discuss about this, but there's a, uh mutual interest on meeting both worlds. I mean, what they are doing in Peru as a spaceport versus what we are doing here also as a spaceport and more.
Mhm.
So there's things that we can share at some point. Where is this? Oh, here it is. I'm gonna pin this to the top. Pin to top. Okay. So now we have this here. I would like to make a an introduction of him. Okay, and I am ready. I am ready here. Okay, I'm not sharing any screen yet. Um, so excited. There you go. Juan, Juan Pedro, buenos días.
Ok, ok.
Hola, buenos días, Juan Pedro.
Muy buen día, muy buen día. Disculpa, disculpa.
No, 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 por favor. Estamos todavía en preparativo. Estamos grabando ya, pero estamos en preliminares. Ah, eh, Muy bien, gusto de verte y gracias por venir, por estar. Estamos bien atentos. Les doy unos minutos a mis alumnos para que se junten. He invitado a varios otros. Quiero presentarte I'm going to switch to English because the majority are English speakers. So, except for Marcos, who is from Chile. Okay, but anyway, so I will switch a little bit before we start. We become official. First of all, I would like to introduce you Clarisa Escamilla. She is an alumni from this university, but now she is back and is working in what is called outreach for the School of Mines, which is an organization that harbors not only mining engineering but other departments, all integrated in an organic way. And her mission is to find connections with the from academia to the industry and vice versa. So there's plenty of things to do. Am I right, Clarissa, or anything else that you would like
Yeah.
to?
That pretty much sums it up. It's just really interdisciplinary, anything related to mining.
Very good. Excellent. And space mining is having a big and interesting place for starting. So next is Marcos. Marcos, we're going to switch for a moment to Spanish. Marcos es de Chile, es estudiante de doctorado aquí en la Universidad de Arizona y ha participado en algunas de las actividades. Te voy a mandar unos videos donde él aparece presentando los proyectos y ahora es uno de mis alumnos de introducción a la minería lunar. Okay. Switching back to, ¿quieres decir algo, Marcos?
No, nada,
Yeah,
todo
muy
bien.
bien. Okay, switching back to English, I would like to introduce one of our students here, Jonathan Amundsen. Okay, he's very enthusiastic on Moon and Mars, and I'm sure he's gonna take a lot of it. And I will also suggest to have him as a kind of a permanent connection afterwards. It would be very good. He's I always kind of make fun of saying you already have a crater on the moon and more, but I know it's more than that. I mean, it's all the enthusiasm and the things that you're doing, doing things for Mars. Am I right, Jonathan? Okay, very
Yeah,
good.
Mars is kind of my real passion and focus.
Very good. We'll get there. Okay, and Tino Tenda Chimbwanda. He is one of our students. Tino, can you would like to introduce yourself, Tino?
Yeah, very well. Greetings all. My name is Tinotenda Chimbwanda. I'm a graduate mining engineering student and also a research assistant in the mine automation and autonomous systems lab. And I'm pleased to meet you all and looking forward to learn from our guest today. Thank you.
Very good. Okay. There's a few more. At least we have two students that may not appear here because they are unsync. So it means that they will watch the lecture in asynchronous mode. And there's a few more that I have also invited. They will be appearing one way or another in the following minutes. So let's I would like to, for the sake of time, I would like to start in a minute, 8:35. So that would be good. Oh, there's Kate. Excellent. Okay. Good morning, Kate. We are in the preliminary stage before we start the presentation. We'd like to personally introduce Juan Pedro here, and of course the other students. Kate is a PhD student, and she is one of the first members of the Wildcat Moon Miners team. She participated in the first version of the Break the Ice Lunar Challenge, and has a lot of things, a lot of knowledge to share. She's expert in many things, from ventilation to moon mining, surveying, digital mining, and much more. Okay, so very good. I don't know if we have more people. If not, we're going to start with almost 8:30 something. Okay, we're good to go. So good morning, everybody. This is part of the Introduction to Moon Mining course. And also in a special way, I am extended the invitation to all of you that are interested or are part of the moon mining or space mining community. I'm very proud to present Juan Pedro Van Hasselt. Okay, and I'm going to read his biography very quickly. He's an executive specialized in legal corporate issues with more than 30 years in business management in leading multinational and Peruvian organizations, acquisitions and mergers in Latin America, compliance and good corporate governance, company law, competition law, negotiations, telecommunications, mining, construction, energy, environment, investment and trademarks and patents, relations with the government and third parties of interest, stakeholders, and former justice and member of the Advisory Council of the Peruvian Competition and Intellectual Property Agency, INDECOPI. Founding partner, director, and general manager of Stargate Peru, SAC, this anonymous closed society. A Peruvian attorney with a Master of Comparative Law, American Practice from George Washington University, independent director, compliance, and risk officer. His interest in science and innovation led him to research and persuade the Peruvian Air Force to consider a proposal to enable Peru to build their first spaceport, which will allow the country to enter the new space economy on this 21st century. So as you know, there's a lot of expectations on these topics, not only in Peru but in all of the world. And I thought it was very proper for us Wildcat Moon miners to learn from Juan Pedro. So welcome, Juan Pedro. Thank you for coming and to give us your presentation. I'm going to put your presentation on the screen to share it, and I'll be happy to forward the slides whenever you say.
Thank you.
Okay, 1 second, please. Excuse me, 1 moment. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen and sound if there's any. And now
No sounds.
No sounds. Okay, yeah. And then let me open this that is already here. And I am okay. Let me know if okay. All right, we are ready to start. Juan Pedro, whenever you want to start.
Perfect. We're on business. Hello, everybody. Good day. Greetings from Peru. Actually, I'm a lawyer professionally. I'm not a scientist as you guys. This is not a presentation on what you know best, much better than I. But probably this will give you a glance at aspects that you may find in the future when dealing with commercial aspects that you will encounter while you engage in your activity of asteroid mining. Preliminary, we're talking about a spaceport. Spaceport is the gateway to the space. And there's a current problem, as I am reading, in the Northern Hemisphere regarding spaceports that are becoming a bottleneck because of regulatory issues, social surroundings, spaceports, and traffic. Space traffic, commercial space traffic is growing. Next, please, Professor.
Yes.
You may find this graphic on your left. I have highlighted in yellow for some of you who may not know very well the map of South America. Peru is located in the west coast, facing the Pacific Ocean, an ocean away from Australia. The size of the country is roughly 3 times that of California. And the red line on the right, I have just traced it. Excuse my pulse, not too straight as I can see. We're roughly 4,000 miles away from Phoenix, no direct flights, maybe you need to take a connection to Dallas to fly nonstop to Lima, or go to LA for another nonstop flight. The two red lines converge at a spot in the northern part of Peru, close to the country named the Ecuador, or properly in Spanish, Ecuador. And Ecuador is right over the equatorial line, which, as you very well know, divides the latitude between the north and the south. The equator is latitude 0, while this spaceport is at 4 degrees, scarcely 4 degrees, approximately 510 kilometers from the equator. A wonderful country for Peruvian gastronomy. Tell me if not, Professor Victor.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you miss it, but not our traffic, our awful chaotic traffic. So if I may say, it's a fantastic place to visit.
Yes.
Any questions on Peruvian gastronomy so far? Any questions on that subject matter? Please feel free. Please feel free to ask questions, because maybe they may be pertinent to what I'm talking, and I may be assuming things that need a clarification on the spot. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I will have here some comments from Jonathan. First of all, he was about to ask about the 4 degrees inclination. And also one of the things that highlights there is that saves a lot of fuel launching to like a GEO, I mean the Earth orbit.
Exactly. I will enter into physics and geometry. As you very well know, our planet is not a sphere, but is of spheroidal configuration, has a spheroidal configuration. And if you remember your physics, the farther you are from the axis, you have a faster rotational speed. And this is exactly what happens at the equator. It has a circumference of 40,000 kilometers. It takes 1 whole day, as we very well know, to rotate. Divide that into 24 hours, and we obtain the rotational speed per hour of 1,670 kilometers per hour, which is highly desired when launching rockets into space. Calculations are that you can save around 30% in fuel if launching from an equatorial location, or it could also mean 1/3 of a cargo weight, I'm sorry, if launching from this very same location. And that's what we are playing as a business case where we are. We have attended some conferences, Satellite 2023 at Washington, D.C. last year, and we met with officers, rather executives from Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Arianespace from France, Rocket Lab, SpaceX, Blue Origin, and so on, around 16. And these gentlemen in the space industry very well know what it means to launch from the location. So we had very sympathetic reactions from them, which gave us the impression that we are on the right track. This is a startup, by the way. Going back to our map, you can see that we are right in the ocean. From the west coast of the U.S., we believe that ships can bring stages of rockets and be brought to this seaport, which is to the seaport serving the spaceport. And then from there, we're like 5 miles away to the spaceport. That'll be a logistics operation. But now maybe you will say, JP, what are you talking about? Why should we launch from there? Well, besides the fantastic gastronomy, as I said earlier, there are more things ahead that we are incorporating into our business model. And I'm actually making the presentation I'm making to potential strategic partners and investors that we are searching for. Peru has a millenary tradition in metallurgy and mining. Before our times, before Christ, the Incas and the civilizations that preceded the Incas, probably the gold that was extracted from the Peruvian mines supported the Spanish Empire, their invisible armada, when back in the 17th and 18th century, Spain was a dominant player in the global scenario. You may remember that Spain even discovered or conquered the U.S., the southern parts of the U.S. And it's mainly, historians base this dominance from the mines that came from Peru and surrounding countries. I have a report listed there on the right, showing a EY report in ranking Peru in the extraction and export of mining and metals. We're number 2 in copper, number 2 in zinc, number 1 in gold, number 3 in silver, 4 in tin, 3 in molybdenum, and so on. I have so limited time. We have many minerals, rare earths. It's a very plentiful. I've worked for U.S. mining companies on site, and when the U.S. geologists would come to how do you say that? Look for make their prospects, geology prospects. They would tell me, listen, you guys don't know, but it's not Australia, Canada. Peru's one of the golden secrets kept in the geology business.
Yeah.
And look from the economic standpoint where we stand. 57% of the exports, mining sector. We hold 11% out of the private investment. 11% is dedicated to mining and metals. Gross domestic product, 11% of total output. 8% of tax revenue dedicated or originated from mining. 5% of the workforce dedicated to mining. And even on tax revenue, I would challenge that number. I think it's much higher on the total gross economy of the country, because we're one of the economies with a formal sector which continues to pay their taxes and be part of the formal economy, but we have like around 70% of a sector that lives underground, pays no taxes, uses no banks, of course, because otherwise they can be traced. So I challenge that 8%. I think it must be much higher. But that's just to give you a feeling of why we feel that our business model is so related to mining, and we want to let's say, offer a disruptive approach on mining, on asteroid mining, bringing it to our spaceport. We firmly believe that space mining will be very distinctive. We want to position ourselves as the first dedicated spaceport for space mining in the world. I'll go over throughout the presentation on some actors that we are talking with.
Okay.
Next, please.
Yes. Before we change, Juan Pedro, there's a couple of comments here from Jonathan.
Please.
Yes. First one is inclination change is one of the most expensive things you can do in orbital mechanics. So I think that talks in favor of looking for a place that is closer to the equator, to the equatorial line.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other is a curiosity. I'm curious about the ITAR complications. The U.S. has a history of being very strange with the shipping of rocket and space tech outside of U.S. borders. So I don't know if that thing would be ironed out in the following years, or if they are going to have places other than continental U.S. or in general United States territory for launching things. And well, we're talking about United States, but I don't know if Europe or European Space Agency will have the same feeling.
That is a very valid question, which came up when we approached many of the U.S. Operators in the satellite show fair that we attended last year. They did, in fact, tell us that the FAA and exports control take a big part of this. I'm meeting next Thursday, by the way, and let me give you a heads up on that. I'm meeting next Thursday, the 25th, with a member of Congress, retired Navy Admiral, who's quite learned in this topic, in the defense of the country and the economic development of the country, Congressman Jose Cueto. And I'm bringing him a proposal to please plea in favor of the advancement of the country in this area, in space activities, to have Peru approve the MTCR, which is the Missile Regime Control Agreement, the TSA, which is the Technology Safeguard Agreement, signed already by 35 nations, including Argentina and Brazil for South America. This TSA warrants the countries that the technology that is being provided will not end up in the hands of, I hope I'm not offending anybody, in Iran, Nicaragua, Cuba, North Korea, and so on. That's a safeguard which is required as well. And the last agreement is the Artemis Accords. The Artemis Accords is an agreement signed already by 35 nations, more majority by South America here, Argentina, Brazil, Ecuador, Uruguay, and I think Chile. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm old. I can't remember everything. And so on. So. And the Artemis Accord is a pact, a covenant signed among member states that the activities you will be carrying out from your territory will not include misuse of space, nuclear armament, and so on. So I'm delivering a formal letter to this congressman to have Peru immediately start the ball rolling to adhere to those treaties, because investors have told me, investors and potential users of our platform are telling me that we need to have them these accords in place. So that's a very valid and valid question. Thank you.
Very good. We're in the next slide already.
Oh, sorry. I spoke with several students or graduates from earth mining, and I think there's kind of a misconception or probably an area that is not being explored, and I'm sure that due to the due to the issues we have discussed with Professor Victor, I'm sure this is not the case. Most of asteroid mining is thought as being outer space bound, like in transition, obtaining minerals for future camps on the moon and in Mars. But I also want to make my case here that not necessarily minerals need to also be earthbound. Case in point, as an example, the platinum group metals, which, as you can see on the image on the left, is absolutely necessary for the electromobility industry, for batteries and components and so on. The PGMs, and I have learned this, I'm a lawyer once again, I'm not one of you scientists on mining topics. The PGM group consists of platinum, palladium, and may I make a point here that I'm reading that the probable reserves in Earth for platinum and palladium will be depleted by 2035 and 2040 respectively. So either substitutes for palladium and platinum come up through technology, or we'll have to get them from space 10 years from now. 10 years from now. And the other issue is not only that it's being depleted, but look at the map on the right. The source is the US Department of Energy. And the map indicates there very well that it can only be obtained from challenging geographical locations. And I don't want to enter because of political issues, but it says challenging geographical locations. Let's say between Russia and South Africa, 3/4 of the world production comes from there. And again, that may be challenging. So prices come up. We know what's going on with Russia right now, who's, I mean, it's clear it's becoming the enemy of the West. So maybe that's really a territory where this group of metals cannot be obtained. So I put this graphic here to let you know my feeling of the hurdles. Maybe this activity also needs to know what is going on in the world, the geostrategy, and maybe because of these particular country issues, space mining might be fueled, might be an activity that needs to be undertaken way before what we think. This is just a reflection. I'm not guessing or whatever, but I'm telling you the hard facts. That's why I'm not talking. I'm relying on images that with a source of where they come, so that you can come up with your own conclusions. Next, please. Now I like this present day pioneers, and it's amazing how this activity is obtaining a lot of visibility. This is Matt Jalich from Astroforge. I saw this, I think, 12-minute interview in CNN. And what I like is the enthusiasm of the host on the left. And you should see the presentation because she studied very well what the activity was. She studied the activity of Astroforge. Her questions were fantastic. Matt Jalich appears like bored, but maybe it's because of the exact sequence where the picture was taken. But it's amazing where these pioneers are taking science and technology for the well-being of us humans. This is a mission that was launched, I think it's in September of last year, and as it says in the article in Forbes in the headline, it's a deep space mission. So I think they will reach their target in 2029. It's amazing. And you should see it. You should actually learn from what these pioneers are doing. There are Marco Polos, there are Christopher Columbuses. They are trendsetters. It's fantastic. So congratulations to all of you who are studying the right thing. I will merely have to stay on my spaceport while I watch you go.
Very good. Juan Pedro, I would like to present a note from Jonathan here. Is the current prices of some of these precious of PGMs. Platinum is $30,613 per kilogram. Palladium, $33,677 per kilogram, and rhodium is $153,226 per kilogram.
I can't believe it.
Precious, yes.
Amazing. We'll touch that subject also later. Next,
Very good.
please.
Yes.
Another question. I'm sorry. Another question. No.
I don't think there are no questions for the moment. Yeah.
So let's carry on. Asteroid mining. These guys are my favorite. I have spoken with the #3 executive. This company is called Asteroid Mining Corporation, which kind of causes a confusion because you're not sure if we're talking about an activity or a pronoun at times. You need to see it in context. It's called AMC, Asteroid Mining Corporation, and I've spoken with a number of executives in this company, and they're doing a fantastic job. They, as indicated on the rectangle in black, this is a copy paste from their own webpage. They're in the business of mining the abundant resources found beyond Earth. See what an ambitious goal. I mean, not on the moon. No, these guys are going way farther from our borders. Another objective is to become the world's first productive space resources business. Profitable long before we get to an asteroid. How ambitious can you get when you're not even back on Earth with the minerals and you already want to be profitable before you obtain the goods? I mean, these are ambitious. And let me tell you what they're doing, because I've been looking at their development. I'm following them very closely. Asteroid mining obtained a $500 million grant, if I recall correctly, from the British government. And so they're fueling their activities. And what they have done,
Oh.
they have entered into an agreement with the University of Glasgow. Glasgow, Scotland, if I'm pronouncing correctly.
Yeah,
What is the university doing? They're using their own super, ultra, uber, fantastic spectrograph, and they're targeting the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. And as you very well know, metals provide their own particular wave of length. And they're using this spectrograph to map every single of the almost 800,000 asteroids in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. And they're coming up with an inventory. So in the near future, not in the future, in the near future, when a company like Asteroid Mining or Astroforge finds there's a need for platinum or tin or whatever, they'll pay probably their fee to the university, and the university will let them know, into my inventory, you will find platinum and tin in asteroid XJ97, J44, and it won't be a hit and miss. You go directly to the asteroid. That's fascinating. I mean, that's really science fiction. Again, congratulations on being on the right field. Next,
Very
please.
good. Nostromo.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Allow me a little bit of humor and pop culture. 100 years from now, be warned. Be warned. Space mining activities will be carried out. A spaceship called the Nostromo, on its way back from Mars, hauling 20 million of tons of iron ore, and hauling a refinery, refining the iron ore on the way back to Earth, will receive a hailing call, an SOS call from a distant planet. And because of Admiralty laws, which come from the seas, you're supposed to assist emergency calls. And they follow their laws, their codes, and go to this planet. That's when we will be all doomed. So a word of advice, spread the rumor. If 4 or 5 generations from now, any of your descendants are about to go on this trip in the Nostromo, and the manifesto shows an officer with the name Ripley, the civilization is doomed. So a word of advice on that. But why am I bringing this issue? Because I was trying to find out on literature or whatever, who came up with this idea on asteroid mining? I mean, how creative can you be to sometime look at the stars and say, and probably have a background on mining, because if you're not in mining, probably you don't think that these are resources that may be depleted at some point in time. And think, well, you know, we have to go there to the stars, and 30, 40, 50 years from now, we'll need to bring those resources from space. This movie, this film, I found out that the screenplay was made by James Cameron, who you know very well, also made the Terminator series, Avatar, which is, I think, launching their second and third. This other film, The Deep, also Undersea. And he wrote the screenplay for Alien, and he came up with the idea that Nostromo is a ship that does space mining back in 1979. How creative can you be for that? If you find any precedent before this, please let me know, because I'm really curious. So that's it for pop culture. Please, next. And the environment. Probably on the issue again on costs regarding platinum. There's a source there that I found it on YouTube. You should see it. There's a lot of science behind it. How to space instead of on Earth, and I grabbed this picture from the video. Environmentalists, social unrest at some point in time will make it impossible to mine, probably in some locations. Here in Peru, Argentina as well, large mining projects have been stopped because of social discomfort, environmentalists, and the true fact that there's a footprint, which is a mathematical calculation, and you cannot go around it. In this video, the scientist speaker tells us to mine from Earth 1 kilogram of platinum takes 40,000 kilograms, 40,000 kilograms of carbon footprint, right? While on a rocket, it's only 150. So even the protection of the environment is pushing the mining activities to space. So it makes a lot of sense to start considering it very seriously. And I tell you that because there's a lot of skepticism in the activity, as you maybe have experienced it. Much skepticism in probably countries with less developed economies as mine. So making a case here as well as to why it makes sense on space mining. On the right, of course, one of my passions is cars, and I don't know if you believe in the electric vehicles. I don't. Of course, the end product is fantastic, but you need to look at what it takes to get that end product. 12 tons of rock for the lithium that is requested for the manufacture, 5 tons of cobalt minerals, 3 tons of mineral for nickel, 12 tons of copper ore. To move 250 tons of soil, only to obtain 12 kilograms of lithium, 13 kilograms of nickel, such of manganese, cobalt, RAM, aluminum, steel, and plastic. Besides that, the yellow equipment, Caterpillar for earth moving consumes 1,000 liters of diesel in 12 hours, not to mention all the other equipment. And even this figure here forgets to mention those giant cargo ships bringing those vehicles, taking the ores from South America or from ever to China and exporting the finished vehicle back to the West, to the Americas or to Europe. So I am not a believer on the manufacture or in the zero impact of electric vehicles. But again, this could be like a selling point as to why mining, space mining makes sense as well. Let's cut the well, you know what I mean, but let's cut the fiction and go to facts. Electric vehicles for me is just a fashion statement for me. Please forgive me. For me, it's a fashion statement, but I think it's not a solution to the environment. Next, please. Welcome to disagree. I'm a lawyer. I'm used to having confronting opinions.
The fine print.
And now the laws, you need to know in which framework you are working. The origin of space law comes from the Outer Space Treaty, and we have to look back at history and wonder what was going back then. Space started with a 1957 successful, space activity started with a 1957 successful launch and flight of the Sputnik 1. And then the next satellite followed with Leica, the dog. And then in 1961, Yuri Gagarin. So the West was feeling threatened by the performance that the USSR back then, now Russia, then USSR, United Socialist Soviet Republics, was having the winning hand on the space activity. In that juncture, that panic over space activities by the USSR is what caused the United Nations to call for meetings and have all the countries sign the Outer Space Treaty, considered the cornerstone of international government instruments. And basically what the Outer Space Treaty is indicating is that the space is all open for human activity as long as it's peaceful, as long as no property is seized by any country, and no nuclear activities. And there are some other, of course, treaties that have followed regarding space activities by the countries. But technology keeps going on, and the private entrepreneurs started becoming the main attraction of businesses. We started seeing Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and so on. The British chap, I can remember the name, from Virgin Airlines. Richard Branson. And they started pushing for regulatory, for laws for private enterprise, because the activities for space were reserved for the governments, because they are all signatories of the United Nations. Private activity was probably not accepted by them. And in 2015, the US issued their own commercial activities space regulations. And what happens here is that following the principles of the Outer Space Treaty, like let's say you have to protect private, you have to, space bodies cannot be owned by any nation or individual. But what happens if I scrape some sand out of this celestial body and bring it back to Earth? Some creative lawyer somewhere thought that this could be an activity, and that's how we started having individual laws in 2015. In 2017, Luxembourg followed, the United Arab Emirates passing a law related to space mining, emphasizing the importance of responsible and sustainable practices in outer space. Japan as well, aiming to facilitate resource extraction while ensuring compliance with international agreements. Very smart posture, because what they're saying is, I'll carry on my private agreements, but I will completely respect the international framework. So I will not collide with any other country. And Russia and China are collaborating on moon missions, demonstrating their interest in exploiting extraterrestrial resources. I'm proud to say that Peru has drafted a bill inspired in the Luxembourg Act and the U.S. Commercial Space Launch Competitive Act of 2015, but it's not the moment to submit it to Congress. We need to advance a little bit on the concession of the spaceport, and once the political issues are sorted out, I'll send this bill to Peruvian Congress for issuance. It'll give us the legal framework for space funding. Next, please. Other issues that, I mean, this is a compelling issue. This is a very important issue, especially for you in the US. You may remember during the Trump era that he very wisely, in my opinion, opened another arm in the military, which is the US Space Force. And I have had access to, because of the partners I'm partnering with, I've had access to some of their documents. I hope I'm not, my visa is not canceled because of this. But see the preponderance of activities they are looking out to cover. The commercial space strategy, that's exactly what you guys will be doing. Imagine a moon camp where no property can be obtained. Let's say the US places a moon camp, and an individual from China or Russia can validly open the door and enter. You cannot evict him because that's not the purpose of the Outer Space Treaty nor the Moon Treaty. Property belongs to no one. And of course, Loris will speculate, but this is my opinion. So who knows, maybe during your life, our life, we will be seeing the first conflict, real life conflict carried out by the Space Force. The Secretary of Defense, the letter on the other, on the right, recognizes the rapidly growing commercial space sector. That's where we are. And they are prioritizing and aligning efforts to integrate commercial solutions into our national security space architecture. And also, they are interested in how the commercial sector can support national security. I mean, it cannot get clearer than that. But during your activities, if you're engaged in this business, I think that in one point or the other, you will have to get engaged with the US Space Force, and you'll have to probably surrender whatever you're doing to what Space Force asks you to do. Who knows what conflicts may derive? I mean, always real life is much creepier than science fiction. So this is just a heads up. Next, please.
Wait.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Done. Okay.
Now, talking about business, maybe you've heard about this. I follow Neil deGrasse Tyson. I think he's a fantastic astrophysicist, science communicator, and different than all the others. He doesn't have this clout of knowledge, but rather speaks to all of us not so smart guys like me in a very a colloquial manner. I like the humor that he provides in his presentations to make his points come across. And I wonder if you heard this famous quote that he made. Please excuse a background noise, but I cannot control it. Does it filter in a background noise?
No, we're
Okay.
good.
Okay, he says the first person to be a trillionaire would be the person who exploits the resources from space. That's where we want to be, tell me not. Asteroid mining is an appealing prospect to commercial companies, and with good reason. Space rocks harbor valuable raw metals such as iron, nickel, and platinum. So if someone success, that'll be us. Not so. So if when we successfully tap into these celestial resources, we could indeed become the world's first trillionaires. So congratulations on that.
Very good.
And the last one, please.
Juan Pedro, sorry, Juan Pedro. Before
JP for
we go,
short, maybe.
yeah, JP. Here's a comment from Jonathan. Land operation, sea operations, air operations, cyber operations, psychological operations, space operations. I think all are part of the geopolitical dance already in terms of military conflict.
Yep. Totally agree. Totally agree.
Okay. Very good.
So that's about it. I hope that if I were here at the Shark Tank, I'm getting an investment from you guys on a good rating and approval. I wanted to show you my business case. I wanted to let you know what you will be finding out. There will be many actors, many players in this field, suppliers, let's say outer world refineries and so on. And you will encounter them because your activity will become central and you'll have suppliers from all over around a logistics chain, which with whom you will have to interact. I'll be there waving you goodbye from my spaceport, wishing you good luck, and I hope to encounter you sometime in our industry, sometime in the near future. I'm open for any question, please.
Very good. There's a comment here from Jonathan. It looks like the rocket launches will have to fly over land. Is that true?
Come again?
It looks like rocket launches will have to fly over land. Is it true?
From the spaceport, it looks like the launches will launch. Would it be east over basically the Gulf of South America?
Oh, you mean my particular case?
Yeah.
In Peru? Yes. We need to have a buffer zone. The spaceport of Northern Australia, Vandenberg in California, for example, they do fly over territory. What happens for the particular case of Peru is that east from this location, we're lucky enough to have an inhabited desert, which is called Sechura. And this will be our buffer zone. You should know that I let Professor Victor know, the last week of March, we had a visit by the US Space Command, who came to study geologics, climate, trajectory, and they will release their findings hopefully soon. We're relying on those findings, but let me tell you, as thorough as the US Space Force is, they wouldn't have come all the way down to Peru to make those calculations if the project wouldn't be viable. I'm sure they will be sorting out trajectory by which our launches will be successful. So we're relying on those findings.
Very good. We have here a question from Jake Pacheco, one of my undergraduate students. How does the legal aspect pose opportunities for growth and new legislation?
Thank you for that question, because it kind of allows me to expand and bore you to death. So I can talk over and over about it. Regulatory framework, I think, is key on human activity, and it's the way we chose to live in society. We cannot tap into each other without having a consensus on what the rules in our human behavior is. So fortunately, somebody came up with maybe very primarily, you may remember in the Bible that when Solomon was confronted with who was the legitimate mother of a child, Solomon said, well, if you can come to agreement, we'll split this infant in half.
Oh no.
That's in the Bible. And
Yeah, I know.
and one of the purported mothers said, no, I don't want it, take him. And Solomon so wisely said, then you are the mother, because you wouldn't tolerate having your own flesh and blood being split in half.
Very
I
good.
mean, laws control, fortunately, the way we behave in society. Laws let society know the issues or the direction that society as a whole must take. Precedents by the Supreme Court will tell you whether abortion is warranted or not, and at what stage of pregnancy. And so I'm a firm believer that you need your regulatory framework to know your direction. And then issues of ethics come into place, issues of compliance, because maybe you have the law, but you think you can be smarter and get away with it without following the laws. And as humans, as societies, it's proven that we do those things. We still kill people. We still perform illegal abortions. We pull a fast one on our partners. We want to get rich by illegal means, money laundering, and so on. So I think countries, solid countries, look into territories where laws are followed, where there's regulatory frameworks to control the activities, and where your activity is not illegal. So take my case, for example. I need my country to uphold 3 treaties. And we're in an international economy, and I need to be compliant to offer what my partner from overseas needs, because otherwise he cannot operate in a country that does not abide the laws. So I'll become compliant, because otherwise we will not have a match. But again, that's how I behave. Probably friends of us, family members, think otherwise. But this is, again, another reflection of mine, and I hope I get no hatred.
Okay, thank you, JP. We have 2 last comments here. One is from Tino. He says, very insightful presentation. Regulation of space mining evolves. I hope it can be equitable to ensure that all countries, including those without space mining, share the benefits.
I kind of agree with you, but I think there are like geographical issues at hand. I think you need to make a case, if any country does it, I think you need to make a case as to why it has to be carried out. Why are you in a better position to offer solutions to this activity? If it can be done elsewhere, how can you persuade or maybe seduce that interested party into doing business with you? That goes, I think, to the core of how we engage in commercial activities. But you should know better than I. I'm no expert. Thank you for the question.
Again, there's a comment from Jonathan here about Solomon's solution. A beautiful solution, because it does not matter who is genetically the mother. The decision goes to the decent person.
Amen.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, I think we're about to finish this special presentation. I would like to congratulate you on behalf of the University of Arizona, JP, and for others, one more comment. Oh, thank you, JP. Yeah, thank you from Jonathan, and thank you from all of us and from the department and many things. It's a special and unique opportunity, and perhaps one of many that I'm looking forward to have you again in other opportunities. And all my the students that were present and other people, some professors that also were invited that may be watching this in asynchronous mode. So first of all, I would like to let you know that you will have a full recording of this presentation for your use. And also, can I release the news for everybody? JP is leaving this slideshow for your perusal. Okay, so that would be a great thing. And any other words, JP? You want to
Yes,
closing
Professor
remarks?
Victor. Yes, Professor Victor. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to stand up in front of all your students and professors and audience in general. Thank you so much for letting me be heard. I hope you help me carry out the word that we're somewhere down here in South America. Professor Victor is a witness that us Peruvians were very hospitable. So if you want to come over to see our project, we'll enjoy some gastronomy. I'll be delighted. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope to see you again in our activity or socially elsewhere. Thank you once again.
Good. Okay, let's give a round of applause for JP. There's a question here. JP, are you on LinkedIn?
Yes, you may find at the end of my presentation, there's the link for LinkedIn.
I see it here.
All my contact information in my profile.
Yeah, okay, yeah. We're looking at the stars, so we cannot see the fine print, but it's very good. Okay, thank you very much. Actually, we are almost closing the lecture, but we want to. I will remain with my students a few 5 minutes for course topics, and also chat boxes was in the way. Oh, okay, very good. So I'll be glad to keep in contact with you, JP. There's a few things I would like to talk and extend.
Delighted.
Yeah, okay, extend this. Okay.
Delighted.
Very good. And,
have a good one. Thank you so much. Good day, everybody.
Thank you again. Thank you very much, JP. Bye-bye. Okay, now we are remaining with the students. Tino, sorry, I found no time for today for you to present. So Can we do that next lecture on Tuesday or
Yeah.
perhaps on Thursday?
Yeah, definitely. We can do that next week.
Yes, yes. We have APR coming, so it's another issue. But well, we'll try to fix it. But I would like to take the opportunity to invite you all to tomorrow. There is a symposium called Near Space. I think I mentioned this, and I'm sad that I asked if it's going to be recorded. If that is the case, Jonathan, you will receive Jonathan, Jessica, and Muhammad will receive a copy of this recording. If not, I'm sure that myself, Marcos, Tino, and now I also invited Clarissa will be able to register or attend. I plan to attend, if hopefully the entire day, because I have other obligations. But does everybody has the invitation? I think Jonathan, you have it already. Marcos, Tino. If not, I'm going to forward it right now. Let me close this share, and without that, I'm forwarding this to the entire team. Jonathan. Then there is Tino, then there is Marcos, and then there is Jessica, and then there is Muhammad. And all right, so you have the invitation. Hopefully you can register. I cannot, I don't know more about this, but and also I will be posting right after this or later the presentation, and you will get the recording from Panopto as always. Okay, well, very good. If there is no more things on the table for today, I think we will give you we'll wrap up the class, the lecture. Hopefully this was kind of motivating. I mean, there's some effort, some business. We know, and everybody knows here that we are doing similar efforts in Tucson or in Arizona in general. There's an area called the Playas. The Playas are the remainders of the rivers. I guess it's Santa Cruz River, but I may be wrong. In some area on the way to Bowie or Safford, is that it might be located, and I think it's close to the highway, close to the power grid, close to, I guess, water sources, or you need to make wells, dig wells, or and also close to the railroad line, as far as I remember. So I think all these things are convenient for a spaceport. And there will be different types of spaceport, different things. Some of them will be commercial or commuting. Perhaps we can go from here to the moon closer than from any other place, and so on. And we are not that, well, yeah, we are kind of far from the equator, but at least we are closer than the northern, all the portions of the northern hemisphere. Okay, but with all that said, I also will remind you that I put in the resources in Mars and Moon and Mars mining more papers. These papers are valuable, are a treasure for reading and for citing them whenever you require them. Not for this course, but from now on on the road ahead. Okay. Well, that's everything I have for today. It has been a special and very exciting opportunity, and I'll be sharing with you this presentation. Okay, that's it for now.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay,
That was a good
Jonathan, Marcos,
presentation.
Tino, and of course Jessica and Muhammad as well. All right.
Thanks for putting this together. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Very good. Very good. Bye now.